Hey everybody, thanks for joining Close to Death. I'm Selena Roan, your host from Fear Paranormal. And tonight we have a really special guest that I'm excited to speak with, actually. She's from the sci-fi show The Ghost Mine. We're getting in touch with her now. So until we have her online, I was wanting to talk to you about stuff I would talk to at the end of the show, as in all the good stuff we have coming up, like Chip Coffey's Coffee Talk in April 5th in Little Rock, Arkansas. Fear is going up there to help him with his event. We are also selling tickets on fearparanormal.wix.com/fear-1 if you want to get your tickets for that. We also have HHL, which is History, Haunts, and Legends in Jefferson, Texas, April the 12th. And Tyler Paracon, April 26th in Tyler, Texas. It's going to be really, really cool. And then I think we have May coming up after that, and that would be Natural Haunted Summit in Arkansas, and it'd be in Boonville, I believe, and that's May 10th. And Granbury Paranormal Expo, which is May 17th. So those are pretty cool things coming up for Fear and just for the paranormal in general. It's going to be a really cool convention in Tyler. I got to meet Kevin Betzer from Deep South Paranormal, and he's a really cool guy, along with Chris Melancon, which is from Paranormal Society of New Orleans. So I'm going to be probably teaming up doing some stuff with them in the New Orleans area here soon. Kristen should be on, so y'all just hold on. We had a little miscommunication of the time difference, and that's all it is. So she's getting on her computer right now, and we should have her soon. So y'all hang tight. She will be here. Also, you wanted to find Fear on Facebook, you could look us up, Fear Paranormal Society. Give us a like. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We got some privates coming up. We're probably going to hold a public event, probably in the summertime. I know it's going to be hot, but we're going to have a good time, and we can probably do the Wiedemeyer Academy. We're taking a little poll on where everybody wants to go. The Wiedemeyer seemed to be pretty active when we were there last weekend. So I'd highly suggest y'all checking out the Wiedemeyer Academy. It's in Belton, Texas. I know a lot of y'all are outside of Texas, but it's a really cool place to go. I had the Myrtles the weekend before, and that one was amazing with Chip Coffey and Brad Kling. Barry couldn't make it. His wife had surgery, so he had to stay home with her, which is completely understandable. Prayers going up for her, too, by the way. But we had a great time, lots of activity at the Myrtles in St. Francisville, Louisiana, and that's exactly where I met Kevin and them. We'll both be speaking at the Tyler Paracon, so you all can come out and meet him, too, if you're around the area. Eric, have we had any luck yet?
No, she hasn't popped on quite yet.
All right. Well, my fill-ins are getting low here. It's okay. She'll be on. I'm not worried about it. We talked to her just a little bit ago, and she was thinking it was 7 p.m. her time, so anyway, the Super Bowl's going really cool right now. I'm really happy that my Seahawks are doing well. I'm not going to jinx them by getting too cocky just yet, but I'm pretty happy with the Super Bowl. I don't know what this Bruno Mars is going to do, but probably be cool. If you guys want to get any tickets for History, Haunts, and Legends, like I said, on our Fear Paranormal website, we have an events tab. You can get your Chip Coffey tickets for anything he's doing as far as his coffee talk. The Ryan Buell and Chip Coffey event that's coming to Dallas, Texas, April 25th, that sucker is, I believe, sold out. And I didn't get to sell tickets to that. So only coffee talk, and that's every single show that he has that's already not sold out. We also have the History, Haunts, and Legends tickets, and you can also go and look on Tours of Tyler, Jericho's Tours of Tyler, and get you the Tyler Paracon tickets. So there's all kinds of stuff going on, and really kind of fires up March, April, and May for the paranormal community. I think we wait till the taxes come back, is what it sounds like to me, to hold events.
Hey, Selena, how did the Myrtles go? What was that, an amazing event, or?
Oh my God, it was amazing. It was absolutely nonstop activity from the caretaker's cottage, which was pretty funny because it was like me and 6 other girls, and I had investigated with them in Jefferson before, and we were in the caretaker's cottage, and Scarlett asked a couple of questions like, are you male? Make the pyramid go off. Are you female? Make the pyramid go off, and nothing happened. So I kind of joked, and I was like, well, if it's not a male and it's not a female, then it must be Pat. Oh, and I started doing the Pat, thing, and of course everyone started laughing, and then a minute later the ovulus said Pat. So it was pretty amazing, that part of it. And then we put periscopes from Paranologies, which I'm a rep for. Pretty crappy plug, but anyway. We had it go around the periscopes all around the tree on the side of the myrtles, and they went off in sequence, just boom, 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 for like 10-15 minutes, and that was cool. And then we had contact with what we believed to be Mr. and Mrs. Winters. Mr. Winters was actually shot outside the door there, the parlor, and then he walked all the way up and died on the 17th step on the staircase, supposedly, as the story goes. But the periscopes were, it was an intelligent haunt, because we asked it to make the periscope go yellow, which, if any of y'all know what a periscope is, it's a piece of equipment that picks up static electricity. And it has red, yellow, and green. And it was sitting there trying to make it yellow. You could see it trying to manipulate it to yellow. It was so wild, and it was some of the, we got some really cool evidence there. Another lady caught an EVP that said, just let me die. It was an older lady's voice, and it said, just let me die. We got amazing activity there this week, that 2 weekends ago. And it's just a beautiful place. The cabins are really, really cool. And on a normal event, when it wouldn't be the Clean Brothers and Chip Coffee, the cabins are like, they're expensive. They're $350 per night. There's no TV in there. There's no kitchenette in there. But they're really, really, really nice. And you get activity like all over the place, even out on the grounds of the place. The next day, we went to the, what was it, Grace Episcopal Cemetery. And that was the most beautiful, most serene cemetery that I think a lot of us had ever seen. Really old history there, all kind of tied into the plantations around Myrtles and other plantations around the place. And there was a crypt there, and it didn't say no trespassing, so we all went down into the crypt, and it was extremely cold, and there was a little baby bat in there alive, which was crazy. So it was just an amazing experience. And then they were having a funeral, so we had to kind of scurry on away from that crypt and go to another part of the actual cemetery. But it was an amazing experience altogether. And being there with Chip, and he kind of had a mom moment with me. Like, my mom has passed away almost 10 years in March, and when I'm around Chip, sometimes she kind of has visits or just kind of drive-bys and say hi's, is what he said. And we were sitting there at breakfast, and there was a sign up on the wall that said, I love you to the moon. And me and my mom always said, love you to the past the moon and stars, and even past Mars. So that kind of, Chip was like, hello, I love you to the moon, hello. Kind of saying your mother. And it was a pretty cool experience. But anytime I'm around Chip is a cool experience, because he's just an amazing person. We're just having some problems getting her online, huh?
She hasn't popped on yet.
Hey.
Working on it.
I can only talk for so long. So, any other questions in the chat room for me?
What's up? What's after the Myrtles? What's up next?
After the Myrtles was the Wiedemeyer. Are you trying again?
Oops, sorry.
Oops. Did you hang up on her? See, it's 4 o'clock her time, so. Anyway, after the Myrtles, we had the Wiedemeyer, and we caught some amazing thing on a Connect 360 that I posted, and we tried all to debunk it, and we could not debunk it. It was so crazy. It was like a apparition caught on the 360 that was kind of freaking out that some of our people were upstairs and we were downstairs, and it didn't know what it wanted to do on the staircase. Once we started going after it, it just kind of freaked out and went upstairs. It was the weirdest thing in the world. And I'm going to the Belvoir Winery event March 21st, which is actually the 10-year day of my mom's passing. And kind of wanted to stay busy that day, so I'm going to go up there and hang with Adam Berry, Amy Bruni, and Chip, and of course his assistant Greta, and then Britt Griffith will be there as well. Oh, look, she's online.
Yay.
It just popped online. Anyway, Kristen has been with Ghost Mine on there for 2 seasons, and they're trying to bring it back for a 3rd. So we're going to talk to her about that. Oh, and we're going to Gettysburg next year, probably March.
Hi guys, can you hear me all right?
We can hear you just fine.
Perfect.
Hi,
Right.
how are you?
I'm so sorry guys. This is why usually we had a PR person handle this because
That's okay.
we were always getting times wrong and when I'm supposed to call, but we're here now, so that's what counts.
Right.
Guys.
That's what counts. How are you
Yes.
tonight?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you. I drove over to San Diego from LA to spend Super Bowl with my brother-in-law and my sister, so that's been nice. Just got here for enough chips and dip before the interview.
Oh, yeah.
So got
Yeah, I can't believe it's Super Bowl. I was like, really? I forgot all about it. My team Seattle's in it, and I'm going, ha, you know.
Oh,
but,
really? Oh,
yeah,
no.
it's halftime.
I was going to say, I won't be offended if you have it playing in the background.
Oh, that's okay. I'll keep you updated.
Okay. Yeah, I know how important I'm not a big, I'm more of a hockey girl, so that's not a big deal for me. Yeah. But I've never been one of those kind of people who, I get upset with the games, or I get upset at the games where I'm yelling and I get really into them, but I've never been someone who really like follows a team or follows a certain player. Although my whole family are big football fans, so they're kind of disappointed in me for that. Never followed.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
You know.
so
I know the audience is pretty familiar with who you are, but if you could, just tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
my name is Kristen Lumen. I'm a paranormal investigator on the sci-fi show Ghost Mine. Myself and Patrick is my partner. I am a certified hypnotherapist as well, sort of my day job. I graduated in psychology, and I focused on human development and paranormal psychology in school. So that's where the whole paranormal kind of came about, of understanding and researching. Although I've been involved in the paranormal since I was a little girl. I was a little girl at summer parties doing seances and light as a feather, stiff as a board, and all that, scaring the other kids that we were up till 2 a.m, playing all those fun games. So I've always been really fascinated by it, but I kind of come at it from more of a psychological background. What exactly is going on? Is it something that fear, causing the adrenaline, causing hallucinations? Is that what's going on? Or are we really seeing something supernatural? So I'm always very interested in actually interviewing with the paranormal witness, because a lot of times, depending on what time of day it was, how much they ate, were they already afraid of the place they were in, it could explain a lot of paranormal occurrences or something that they might have experienced.
Right. Well, that's how did you actually get to be on Ghost Mine? Is kind of cool. How did that happen?
Well, Patrick actually asked me if I was interested in it because I'm more skeptical. And so we knew each other in the community. I didn't often participate in groups that went out because, to be honest, because I'm kind of more of a skeptic and a naysayer, I think that people didn't like it when I was giving other explanations for paranormal. When somebody thought they were experiencing something, I'm like, well, you could be, or it could be this, So, but Patrick thought it would be really interesting for the show to have a female there present and also somebody with my background. And Patrick and I, work really well together. It's more sort of like a brother and sister relationship where, we kind of argue sometimes about how going about the investigation. But we both really respect each other, and I enjoy working with someone who comes from a different idea. He's the technical guy, he's the techie, and I'm with that kind of stuff. I mean, I won't say horrible. I'm getting better with everything, but he's always the one showing me the new gadgets and all that kind of stuff, and I'm having to take an hour to try to learn them when it takes him about 5 minutes. So there's the difference. And then yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Gave me the opportunity to be able to, I really thought it would be an awesome just field experiment because I would be able to watch these men, even though it's a bit intimidating working all with men and underground, that I would be able to really sort of watch them and how they experience this and what happens to them when they're that far into the ground, and how fearful they get, and what altitude does, and lack of food, or whatever other diet those guys are on up there. So, and kind of seeing how someone can have a paranormal experience because of their environment and where they are and their mindset, not necessarily because it's paranormal. So I thought this would be an awesome time for me to be able to research that long, because you don't usually get to, you go into a place that's supposedly haunted and you get 1 or 2 nights if you're lucky. And, this was an amazing opportunity to be able to get 6 months out of it. 3 months last summer and 3 months before that.
Wow. And it's also, it ties into your normal day job, that you have other than, your paranormal investigator side. So it kind of ties them together, which is really, really helpful. And I'm sure that was cool for any type of study that you would be doing on the fear that hauntings cause. The thing that I was most interested in when they brought you to the set of, when they brought you to the actual mine, was their superstitions that the guys have about women being there, period. And then you have red hairs. My God, the faces and the reactions that they were giving you was kind of like, wow, it's just really going to work out. So it made it real interesting.
And I've grown up with older brother, older cousins. I, ran off in the mud with the boys and dirt biked and all that kind of stuff. So, but yet I am still fairly girly. And so I think, though, growing up the way I did in a big, large Irish family sort of prepared me to be around these miners, because actually kind of reminded me of some of my uncles and my great uncles. And but it was, I didn't realize how, I was, when the first scene or the first episode of season 1, when they kind of bring me up in the cook shack on it, almost reminds me of like a stage or something where you just walk up and, we're looking out at all the miners. It was a really intimidating experience for me. And I was kind of shuffling feet and looking at the ground, and I'm not usually like that. I'm pretty, I get along with everybody, and I'm not very shy. But I got really shy, and I was really, because they were all just staring at me with these, their eyes, I felt like they were judging this redhead girl here, and so yeah, that was scary. That was scary.
And they were freaking out just as much as you were. Like, are these people lost their minds? Or are they trying to get us killed? I mean, it was an amazing. I mean, I was just wondering how that was going to all work out, and you smoothed it over, obviously, because season one, it took them a long time to kind of warm up to you, and they were still like, "Is this woman causing all these problems in here?" And all this, it was cracking me up. And then the second season, they were like, "Oh, I can't wait to see Kristen again," and it's like, "Wow, what a change!"
Yeah.
What a big change.
I was I think it's always nice to sometimes have a female presence there, because I was always kind of being the one checking up on everybody and taking care of everybody and making sure everyone was okay. And they just really became wonderful friends. When I'm back in Portland, I hang out with Jay and Jamal. We go out and we do investigations with them. They're really interested in it. We just did an investigation at Knights Hall in Forest Grove, which is a difficult place to get into, and it's in most of the books on hauntings in the Northwest. So it was an awesome experience to be able to do that. But we brought Jamal and Jay along, and we really just made some wonderful, wonderful friendships.
Wow, and you can tell it. I mean, it definitely changed. We have a question in the chat room for you. Do you have any "oh my God" moments that while you were in the mine, like "oh my God"?
The growling. When we heard that strange sort of moaning, growling noise, that was really more of an "oh my God" moment, because that's usually not considered a friendly noise, a friendly spirit, anything that's positive.
Right.
Or also, I was always constantly afraid of a wild animal. So I don't know. I don't think they kept it in the show,
yeah.
But I turned to Patrick and I was, asked him, "Is that a bear? Does that sound like a bear to you?" That was an oh my God for sure. When we saw this in the first season, towards the end of the first season, when we saw that form at the back of the mine, at the face of the mine, that was another oh my God moment. And you can see when you watch that episode, the fear in my face, kind of even though you're in there looking for something, it's always a little bit surprising when you do find something, because I don't know how many investigations you've been on and you don't get any evidence, and that was what's really cool about that place, is that we were there for so long that we were able to really take the time that we needed to be able to find something.
And do day and night investigations, which is awesome.
Well, and be able to run in there right when the guys experience something, that was pretty amazing too, because you don't really get that chance. And I've always sort of tried, one of my research questions, something I study, is because I study energy, and that we all emit energy, we all give energy off, and obviously we're researching this paranormal energy. Most time when people have a paranormal experience, it's a lot of times people who've lived in the house for a while, or they've worked in a building for a while. It's not usually the first day they get there. So I'm always kind of finding out, is that because once the two energies sort of the paranormal energy sort of accepts that this other energy is there, that's why it makes it more itself more available, easier to be seen. Because they get used to your energy, your presence where they are. So that's something that I research as well, and I think that might be also why we had the evidence that we did get at the Crescent Mine, because we were there for so long.
That area up there, Seattle's like my favorite city ever. I went there the first time to visit my best friend, and I fell completely in love with it. I've been several times and even stayed there for months, and I love that upper Northwest area. However, when I try to find somewhere that's accessible to investigate, not so easy.
Why? Do you get a lot of red tape? They say you can't go.
Well, it's like I don't find as much, like even online, a lot of it is like in the Civil War area and all that. But I even asked, like I've worked with the Kling brothers, Brad and Barry, and I've asked them, why do you not do events up in the Northwest, And he's like, there's no Butterworth Mortuary in Seattle. That was amazing. It wasn't a full-on investigation, but, it was still an amazing experience. But you're saying that Portland and all that up there, you've got like tons of places up there. I would really like to know where.
Yeah, we have the
to
Shanghai
go
tunnels
because
for one.
I love that place.
Yeah, I mean, Portland itself is just a beautiful, beautiful city. It's hard for me to go to Portland and then come back to LA because it is different. Um, but there's the Shanghai tunnels, all those old buildings. There's the Piddock Mansion. I mean, there's just, I don't even know where to, when we were in Sumter and Baker, there's so many gold towns that, and mining towns that have been, sprung up and then, disappear, ghost towns. The Savi's Island, that's another place that I've investigated on. We caught some EVP of what I believe was Native American chanting. I mean, there's all kinds of places to go.
Oh wow, that's great. Because I mean, I've totally wanted to go up there just to. I mean, I go up there to visit, but I would like to investigate some place besides the Butterworths. And we only get a couple of hours there because it's one of those guided ghost tours. The Market Espresso Alley or whatever ghost tours, and then they stopped doing the mortuary tours. Like I said, it's not a full-on investigation. You don't have the run of the place, but claustrophobic or
Oh yeah,
or
yeah.
really
I am claustrophobic, so that's where my hypnotherapy education came into play for myself, because I would have to sometimes do self-hypnosis to kind of, mind over matter. I'm going in here for a bigger picture. I'm going in here for something more important than me, not liking small places. So, yeah. And so I kind of had to keep that in mindset. And then there was, again, for a season, I think it was probably the last episode, or the second to last episode, when we're in the face of the mine, and I start breathing. I can't catch my breath, and we never did quite understand if that was a paranormal something experience, or I just sort of freaked myself out back there, because it was a really tight space. So that's what's so fascinating about trying to.
Well, I totally look up for you to do it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, going in there, because I don't think I mean, I'm okay at some places, but there's things that I won't do, and one of them is going underneath the house. That just ain't gonna happen. And the other is somewhere where there's only one way out. I have to have access to that one way. So I would be fine as long as there's no one way to run out if I need to. Another question that I wanted to ask you was, it was interesting how you tied every location that you guys, you tied all those different locations of season 2, I believe, and are trying to figure out who exactly is haunting all these locations. Because you said there could be many avenues it could go, like American Indian, the Asian people that were killed there. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about how y'all tied all that together?
Well, it was more, again, it's being able to be there for such a long period of time. And also it did seem that the activity we were getting wasn't one type of activity. It seemed to be that there was residual haunting. It seemed to be that there was intelligent haunting. There seemed to be that there, which I never really like to go into, but demonic, something evil. I don't know if I would go as far as saying demonic, but something that it wasn't a good feeling. It wasn't a good presence. So it was the whole idea of trying to find out the history and why we would be experiencing all of this. And then also understanding that the town itself, had all these different stories of being haunted, and finding if there was a connection in the mine. And I think that there would have to be sort of a connection, because it's a mining town and this is a mine, and so it definitely could be all sort of together, or at least a spirit who worked at the mine, at the Crescent Mine, also, stayed at the bed and breakfast. That very, very could easily be possible. So being able to sort of find that connection, is it a one spirit that has been to all these different places, is a different spirit that's just at the Crescent Mine. It was being able to broaden our research and sort of find out if there was, and with the Chinese miners, I mean, it's so horrific, the treatment, and learning about that. And that was something I was really proud of the show, that we were able to sort of uncover that, because I didn't know that prior to being there in Sumter. I didn't know how badly the Chinese immigrants were treated in the mining in the mining towns, and learning that was pretty fascinating, but also, you know, very sad. And it's kind of been, I feel like, you know, brushed under the rug. And I mean, you know, it's hard to face sometimes our history and how badly people were treated in it. So I think that was really important, being able to sort of bring that into light and do the research on that. Why it's always important to me too. Why, if there's a haunting, why is there a haunting? Is there a message that's trying to be told? Does someone just want to pay, you know, someone just wants attention? Is it just residual haunting? So, you know, it's just there. I think it's always really important to try to find out why. And if you can help, Patrick and I sort of got criticized a bit for not bringing in a healer or a psychic or someone into the mine. I'll be honest, I have a hard time believing in that. I do believe that people are born with a gift, with psychic ability, being able to feel things, being able to talk to the other side, but I don't feel that a lot of people are, if that makes sense.
Right. Not as many as there to be.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and you know, in all honesty, bringing someone else up on the hill was something that had to be decided as a whole, not just by Patrick and I, you know. And at the end, though, being able to put up the monument and stuff for the second season, I think was the kind of a way of making peace. You know, we were acknowledging what was there. And
kind of like the Indians always suggest, that there's a like you mess up or mess with Indian burial ground, you know, sacred Indian burial ground, and you take something away from it or change it, and it disrupts and causes paranormal activity or whatever, because that's a sacred land, then you're always supposed to give back by possibly planting trees or things like that in honor of them. You know, that's what I've learned watching all the shows, and by, you know, I'm also have American Indian roots, so you don't mess with Indian burial ground or Indian land, period, without some sort of repercussions. That, you know, that's all. So we want to bring back. We want to really get Ghost Mine back for season 3. And so far, we're kind of having some issues with that. Can you tell us how we can help get that done?
Yeah, I appreciate that too. I think it's just, you know, continuing. I appreciate that. I think it's just continuing to write and talk about it, and, you know, tell Sci-Fi that they want the show. You want the show back on. The thing is with Sci-Fi is I think they're going in a different direction than Paranormal, and because really our ratings were we had very good ratings. We were always in the top 50 shows every Wednesday. We had a lot of viewers. It was great. I think it more is an in-house thing, you know, with Sci-Fi maybe moving some shows around and doing that. And I'm hoping that they, you know, realize that this was one of their best shows. And I think they do realize that, but I think, you know, they might be going in a different direction, maybe more sticking to science fiction than the paranormal. So I think that might be something that's happening. But I'm hoping that, you know, when they see that the viewership is stronger with these type of shows, then maybe what else they might put on, maybe that will help. But,
yeah, they're doing that with Deep South Paranormal as well, because I met Kevin Betzer, and they were saying, I said, are y'all coming back for another season? Those are some nice guys too, you know, at Deep South Paranormal. And he said, well, some changes are being made on our network, and they're on Sci-Fi. So I think that's exactly what happened to Barry and Brad's show, Ghost Lab, when Discovery Channel decided they were going to go a different route. So I wonder how we can get another network to look at it, because I know there's still questions that you have and you need answers to And you weren't quite finished with that on season 2.
No, and I really, which I think we might actually still try to do, but obviously it wouldn't be with all the minors. I don't think, anyways. I really wanted to go to the Octave Mine, even though Arizona was, if you can believe it or not, more frightening than the Northwest, because there you're dealing with rattlesnakes and a whole new different kind of wildlife. Yeah, and when we actually were there filming, for the Octave Mine. Right when we were going in the mine entrance, there was a rattlesnake just sitting there, and I was in front of everybody. And actually, I'm not snakes. The only thing that scare me are scorpions. I'm not snakes. Don't really frighten me. I'm more I'm more of an animal saver than I'm an animal killer. Even though we have this rattlesnake, well, don't hurt it, but hopefully it doesn't bite us. But yeah, when we were there and we had an emergency guy there just in case. I was asking if I got bit, what exactly do we do? And he said, pretty much nothing. We just have to air flight you out of here. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. But yeah, I mean, there was still unfinished business at the Crescent. And then there was, I really wanted to do the Octave Mine, because the Octave Mine might have been a different sort of investigation, because in that mine we found that picture of it looked like some sort of demon or deity. And in that time period and where that location was, a lot of different cultures were there, and some cultures believed that when you're that far into the ground, that you need to pay, give something to the demons, or because you're that close to hell. So that sort of, so I thought that would be a really fascinating place to research, because to know the culture and what they believed, and if they were giving up some sort of offerings to this deity, because there was something on the wall that looked like that was put there, and it was put there a long time ago. So that would have been a really interesting investigation, because that would have just added more stuff to what we were already, looking for. Is it demon? Is it demonic? Is it still this residual haunting of people still trying to give offerings to what they think is in this mine? I mean, that would have been pretty fascinating to be able to do. So, yeah. Maybe we'll get there. And, even if sci-fi isn't following us, we still do investigations, and we film them.
Okay. So you do still do investigations. Where besides the mine have you had best activity? Outside of the show, outside of the mine?
I'd probably say, I don't know if I want to say it's the best activity, but one of the most fascinating was what I mentioned on Savi's Island. There used to be a tribe there, and there's a part on Savi's Island where the ground is so beaten in from their dancing. And we did EVPs out there, and it sounded like we got some sort of chanting or a drum sound, and that was just really, really cool.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. So and that was really one of my, I mean, we always get little things or little spikes here and there where we're going, or maybe we think we caught something on camera, but that was a pretty awesome, to be able to hear that was pretty awesome.
So if sci-fi doesn't get their stuff together and get a brain about it, because paranormal, I know, has changed a lot, and they keep going, they keep doing it, and they do it in all these different shows, and they bring out all these different shows, and then all of a sudden they go, oh, maybe we should do something different. And I'm not sure why they do that, because there's a huge paranormal following. There's not a problem with ratings on really any show that I've seen. So I'm not understanding why they wouldn't. But if they don't, what are your plans for the future? You're gonna of course keep doing what you do during the day, because I read your posts and they're very helpful and positive. So I appreciate those too, by the way.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll continue with the hypnotherapy. I'll continue my research, because it is something that I'm just passionate about myself. learning. And it's always really interesting to me to meet the people who have had these paranormal experiences and then try to find a logical answer for them, or when I can't. But it's always sort of, I don't know if fun's the right word to use, but it is sort of fun for me to be able to do that. And we'll continue researching. We'll continue putting up videos ourselves when we go do that. Like we were just at Knight's Hall, and we'll continue to do that. And I don't know, what will happen in the future. I'm hoping that maybe, since we're not technically canceled, that we do get brought back. That, like you said, maybe another network. Also, I would just love to be able to spend the time again with those group of guys. I mean, I just had an amazing time with them. They're just the most wonderful people. And even when things were getting a little bit tense up there, you leave it to Graybeard or Duck to make some sort of off-the-wall joke or comment, and we're all laughing again. So they're just a wonderful group of people to be around. So I would love another opportunity where we would all get to work together.
Well, I wish I had a lot of money and won the lottery, because I would just make my own paranormal channel and have every show I like on that channel.
No, wouldn't that be nice? Yeah.
It took long enough to get those guys warmed up, so I'm sure that the friendships were tighter than they would have been. They were really lucky when you first got there, because I was like, oh, Lord. And then every little meeting you have, when Patrick gone, or in your cabin, or whatever they call it, your little hut that you had. They would always, I don't know if this is good. They're both, if they're both here causing issues, if it's just her, what's going on? And it's so funny because Patrick is also, he's also has red hair, sort of a blondish red hair. So it's like, wow, they're really trying to test these guys and see what they're made of.
Although no one seemed to care about his red hair. I mean, they barely even mentioned it.
None whatsoever.
I think it's because his tattoos. He looked tough and ready to get into the mine with it. He looked with his muscles and his tattoos, so maybe they're a little bit more easy on him. I'm not sure, but it was it was sweet too, because I don't think they kept this on camera, because you have to remember we're there shooting almost 7 days a week, and there's a lot of footage. So they we're not there editing, so I don't know what exactly is going to be shown and what's not, but the guys, Duck and Graybeard, both came up to me later on in the season, and were like, well, we hope we weren't too mean to you, Red. I hope no hard feelings, Red, when you first got. And it was just so sweet that Graybeard said that, and then Duck said it the second season, saying, I hope way back when I wasn't too mean to you. And it was just really, they are really just great guys, and I understand, they've been living this life, and these are the superstitions, but these would keep them alive, and I totally understand and respect them, and no hard feelings there.
Well, good deal. We have another question that says, has the way you go about your investigating changed due to the show?
Only because I've been introduced to a lot more high-tech gadgets that Patrick has been able to get his hands on. That's the only reason or way that it has changed. And in that situation, it was a different investigation for me, because I got to spend more time in that location than I ever gotten to spend time in a location before. And it's changed in the way of what I kind of talked about earlier about understanding maybe that what the energy you put out, maybe becoming comfortable to whatever's there, and that's why it lets you see it, or you have some sort of and so that's also sort of changed my investigation style, because I do feel that had something to do with that, why we did get evidence. And so when I investigate now more, I'd like to try to find locations where I can spend more than one night.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of tough. Mm-hmm. So where on your do you have a paranormal bucket list? Where exactly is the top of your paranormal bucket list?
Oh boy. I would love to get over to Europe and I don't have, set places the South, I really want to do a whole southern trip. Gettysburg, all of that, because Gettysburg is, it's sort of a hotbed for activity.
Yeah. Yes.
So I've always wanted to check out Gettysburg. Actually, Patrick and I talked about that. We talked about it on the show. I don't think that was kept in, but going to Gettysburg and checking that out. But I also just love going to old farmhouses from people who've come up to me and said, can you please check out my place? I think it has, this is going on, and just kind of doing little research on my own, places I'm not a lot of people that are not famous.
Yeah.
So, and we did the Shanghai Tunnel. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And we did the Shanghai tunnels here in Portland as well, Patrick and I, with Jay and Jamal, and that was on my bucket list. So that was really exciting that we got to do that. Didn't see anything, didn't get anything on audio or on our cameras, but we did, we got a couple spikes on the mail when we probably shouldn't have. So that was a really cool experience.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you being on my show tonight. I've been praying for it for a long time, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, yeah, I'll do your show. I was like, really cool.
Well, before while the show was playing, we had to work with a PR person, and so it's sort of difficult for me to have the PR and get in touch with that person, and so now it's just sort of in my own hands, so I can just say yes whenever I want to. So
that's cool. So tell us when the marathon's coming on, because I know there's a marathon you wanted to tell us about.
Yeah.
When is that coming on?
February 12th is our marathon. It's season 1 and season 2, which would be another great way to tune in and show sci-fi that you're interested and you still care about the show and you want the show to come back on. Even if, I had some people write on Facebook, well, I've already seen them a couple times, Kristen, but thank you for letting me know. And even if you don't care to, just, yeah. Thank you. That's what I was trying to get at, Selena. Just TiVo it. Just put on the television, go do whatever you want for the day, but just keep it on.
Right.
So, yes, that would be another, getting ratings for the marathon, I think, would be another good little, wake-up call for sci-fi.
Great. Well, do you have a website or anything that people can find you on?
Yes, I have my Facebook, just Kristen Lumen, and then I also have, but that's a little bit more of my hypnotherapy stuff, and then I have my Kristen Lumen Ghost Mine, which I put up pictures and stuff of our investigations that we continue to do, and just, times where I meet up with the other cast members, the other crew, the miners. And then also for hypnotherapy, I just have my KristenLumen.com, and that talks about my whole hypnotherapy career and how you can get in touch with me for a session.
That's awesome. Well, thank you again so much, and enjoy the rest of the Super Bowl. By the way, the Seattle Seahawks are up 29-0.
Oh, good.
So,
Okay.
That's right. Have a great evening, and thanks again for joining me.
Thank you, Selena. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Bye. Bye.
All right, that was awesome, Kristen Lumen, and I pretty much gave all the announcements at the beginning of the show, and we were having some technical difficulties. So I just want to thank my sponsors at this point, Syntex Roof Systems in Waco. They do more than just roofs. They do everything. They do remodel, they build metal buildings, they roof. Whatever you need done, they'll do it. So give them a call because they're on it. And then Flanagan's Party Barn. Wendy and Wes will hook you up with the best party, and they're in Waxahachie, Texas. So just for viewers outside the Texas area. But they are my sponsors, and I like to thank them very much. Next week, I'm going to go ahead and replay this because of the Super Bowl. I'm afraid some people have missed Kristen's interview, so we're going to replay it next week. And then I will see you the week after that. Thanks. Have a great one, and peace out. Go Seahawks.
Where there's a great roof in Central Texas,
we're on it.
Home roofs, any roof, every shape, every size, large or small.
We're on it.
We're Syntex Roof Systems, your hometown roofer. Now through Wednesday, get a free professional inspection and a free quote.
Syntex Roof Systems. There's a good roof in town.
We're on it.
Call Centex Roof Systems today at 751-7700 or visit us on the web at Centex.
And that's May 10th. And Granbury Paranormal Expo, which is May 17th. So those are pretty cool things coming up for Fear and just for the paranormal in general. It's going to be a really cool convention in Tyler. I got to meet Kevin Betzer from Deep South Paranormal, and he's a really cool guy, along with Chris Melancon, which is from Paranormal Society of New Orleans. So I'm going to be probably teaming up doing some stuff with them in the New Orleans area here soon. Kristen should be on, so y'all just hold on. We had a little miscommunication of the time difference, and that's all it is. So she's getting on her computer right now, and we should have her soon. So y'all hang tight. She will be here. Also, you want to define Fear on Facebook, you could look us up, Fear Paranormal Society. Give us a like. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We got some privates coming up. We're probably going to hold a public event probably in the summertime. I know it's going to be hot, but we're going to have a good time, and we can probably do the Wiedemeyer Academy. We're taking a little poll on where everybody wants to go. The Wiedemeyer seemed to be pretty active when we were there last weekend. So I'd highly suggest y'all checking out the Wiedemeyer Academy. It's in Belton, Texas. I know a lot of y'all are outside of Texas, but it's a really cool place to go. I had the Myrtles the weekend before, and that one was amazing with Chip Coffey and Brad Kling. Barry couldn't make it. His wife had surgery, so he had to stay home with her, which is completely understandable. Prayers going up for her, too, by the way. But we had a great time, lots of activity at the Myrtles in St. Francisville, Louisiana, and that's exactly where I met Kevin and them. We'll both be speaking at the Tyler Paracon, so you all can come out and meet him too if you're around the area. Eric, have we had any luck yet?
No, she hasn't popped on quite yet.
All right. Well, my fill-ins are getting low. Hey everybody, thanks for joining Close to Death. I'm Selena Roan, your host from Fear Paranormal. And tonight we have a really special guest that I'm excited to speak with, actually. She's from the sci-fi show The Ghost Mine. We're getting in touch with her now. So until we have her online, I was wanting to talk to you about stuff I would talk to at the end of the show, as in all the good stuff we have coming up, like Chip Coffey's Coffee Talk in April 5th in Little Rock, Arkansas. Fear is going up there to help him with his event. We are also selling tickets on fearparanormal.wix.com/fear-1 if you want to get your tickets for that. We also have HHL, which is History, Haunts, and Legends in Jefferson, Texas, April the 12th. And Tyler Paracon, April 26th in Tyler, Texas. It's going to be really, really cool. And then I think we have May coming up after that, and that would be Natural Haunted Summit in Arkansas, and it'd be in Boonville, I believe. Oh, here. It's okay. She'll be on. I'm not worried about it. We talked to her just a little bit ago, and she was thinking it was 7 p.m. her time, so... Anyway, the Super Bowl's going really cool right now. I'm really happy that my Seahawks are doing well. I'm not going to jinx them by getting too cocky just yet, but I'm pretty happy with the Super Bowl. I don't know what this Bruno Mars is going to do, but probably be cool. If you guys want to get any tickets for History, Haunts, and Legends, like I said, on our Fear Paranormal website, we have an events tab. You can get your Chip Coffey tickets for anything he's doing as far as his coffee talk. The Ryan Buell and Chip Coffey event that's coming to Dallas, Texas, April 25th. That sucker is, I believe, sold out. And I didn't get to sell tickets to that. So only coffee talk, and that's every single show that he has that's already not sold out. We also have the History, Haunts, and Legends